one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're gonna do some light reading. Okay. I'm sure we all haven't heard that
All
enough.
that's here is Steve.
Yeah, they've already given us
We're
already.
doing roll call.
Oh, here.
I'm helping her out. Julie's in Hawaii.
Yeah, she should be in Hawaii. Did we already go around that way? Are we going this way?
No, I just looked at Steve.
Laura Cardosi here.
Pam Score here.
Sarah
Freilich here. Can you tell us who you are? So that everybody knows.
Linda Clean.
Okay. I'm Emily Sayers, also here.
Greg Claypool also here.
All in here. Did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes?
Yes.
And we have February 9th. We'll start with that. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
I do have some updates. Just let me know when you're ready, Linda.
I'll help her out on that because
Go ahead.
Julie's going to watch the meeting anyway.
Okay.
And I have a closed caption I told her she can look at, so that'll help.
Okay. On the first, most of my corrections are pretty minute, so
Okay.
just to let you know in advance. Okay. Page 1, in the second to last paragraph that begins with a resident, the second line that says puppies on a leash, just thought we might want to make that a leash.
Yep, gosh, missed that.
And all mine are going to be funny, so prepare yourself. Okay, page 2, under section 4, petitioners, letter B, I just want to correct that it says for his petition on Facebook. It's like 2 lines down. It's not on Facebook, so I think we can just strike that. So it just says
Just
on
say for his petition and strike the on Facebook
Exactly.
part, okay.
I agree with that.
And then, also very minute, page 4, under Public Works, the second bullet point, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down. I just think it should say, and we are, instead of we be. And then on page 5, under Old Business, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line down, where it states this is not changing. It's missing a couple words. I just think it should say this is not changing the policy before the but. And then the next line down after that, or 2 lines down after that, where it says as well as a municipal order, I just want to add the word template after the term municipal order. And the last 2 are both spelling on page 7, about halfway down where it says Ms. Freilich said. My name is misspelled. There should be an E. And a few, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines down from there where it says Sayer. There should be an S for Sayers. Appreciate that. That's all I have.
That was page 5?
That was page 7.
7, okay. I wonder I can't find it.
Sorry, did I go too fast?
No, I just,
Okay.
My pages weren't in the right order, so I was struggling there for a minute. I got it.
God, I thought it was just me. I was like, why can't I find this?
Okay, so we have a first and a second and the other corrections.
Yes, right here.
Call the roll. Steve?
I abstained. I wasn't here.
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
Yes.
Sarah? Steve? Or Greg?
I say yes, but I'm still a little concerned at the very last how people can vote that wasn't attendant at that meeting. But I'm saying yes because everything is correct after this, but I still have an issue with that. So we'll go into the minutes.
Okay. We have February 23rd. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Caucus minutes.
I'll second. You're short again.
Oh, sure.
Is there a second?
Oh,
Yeah,
Laura.
Laura.
Any comments or,
Okay.
Greg?
I abstain, I wasn't here at that meeting.
I abstain as well.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Approval of the minutes. We'll go over that. I'll get with you. Okay, and we start off with the second reading of ordinance number 1.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Park Hills, Kentucky, adopting regulations for inclusion within the city's recently adopted and approved official zoning code, various proposed text amendments to various sections thereof regarding qualified manufactured homes.
And it is the second reading, and I have attachment.
Somebody has to move in second.
I know, I was just pointing out the attachment that was left on your desk.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Can we have discussion? As I indicated in our last meeting, I think it is, I don't support manufactured housing everywhere in our city, and I don't support the state imposing that on us. I think we should have the autonomy as a city to set our own zoning laws. So I know it's got to be done. I understand if we don't do it, the state will punish us, but I can't vote for that. So I'm just explaining why.
But I think it's probably important for us to also point out that this is qualified manufactured housing, so it's not quite like what I think most people think of as if you just called out manufactured housing. It's more prefabricated. At least that's my understanding from what Andy described, and what I think maybe what Patrick Denbo also explained to us in the meeting, some months ago.
Well, I think that you would definitely notice it if you plop that down in, one of the historic areas of our city, which really is virtually everything in our city. But, I just really have a problem with how that's done. And if you recall, Sarah, in our Z21 discussion, we banned manufactured housing. But now it's being imposed on us, so.
That's the key point.
Unless it can make tutors in a factory.
I think also something that I think was stated at the last meeting is that this is something that if we do not approve it,
Correct.
it basically nulls
Our
our
zoning
zoning code.
The state will punish us with invalidating our zoning code,
Right.
which I also think.
We don't want that.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I brought it up originally on this, that, there again, with the majority of the homes being, historical, I think it's just a little crazy too, so I would be a no on this one also.
Well,
So if it invalidates our entire zoning.
yeah, that's the thing, because it's a state,
That's what it said.
Can you weigh
It's
in on it?
unprecedented in how it is structured.
Well, and maybe it's also worth mentioning that this is also imposed by the General Assembly. I think that's key as well.
Right,
It's the state.
it's from the state level, so,
Right.
Mr. Braun, you want to
No, it's
explain?
statutory, and if we don't adopt it into our code, it could invalidate the entire code. I mean, whether we like it or not, it's being forced on us, and we just have to update our code.
So your
for
opposition is
inclusion.
noted, but we have to do it.
Well, I'm just saying, I can't vote for it. I think it's wrong. I don't like manufactured housing in our historic district, and I also don't like the state taking over what was an autonomous thing for every city in the state of Kentucky should be able to create their own zoning code. So, subject to constitutional constraints, of course. But, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to sway anybody else. That's how I feel.
And I remember years ago, there was a home, I don't want to put the address out here on Rose Circle, that majority of the home was aluminum siding, vinyl siding back there, and there was an up-arms about it, like, why is this vinyl siding home going into Park
Like my
Hills?
house.
So, and like I say, I'm not trying to
I was
change.
gonna say, I
I
feel
mean,
like I'm a
if it's going to go through anyway, I just don't want years from now, why are they building this? Well, I was one of the ones that didn't agree with it, even though it's
I
probably
guess we
gonna
should ask
happen.
ourselves how many empty lots are in our city.
Well, I also think that we have a housing shortage nationwide and
Yeah.
certainly in this region. And I think, maybe, I don't know what the General Assembly's reason for this was,
Just the housing crisis, I would imagine.
but it's a reason to be a little more understanding, perhaps.
So, I'm thinking out loud, but if this were to invalidate our entire zoning code, if that is enforced, what does that mean for us?
is
We
you-
start
you-
over?
No,
Okay.
you just have to submit. You have to submit to the demands of the state on this. And it really is unprecedented. Isn't that correct, Mr. Braun? I'm not aware of any other time, other than a constitutional constraint, which would make sense,
Right.
that an issue like this has been imposed on cities.
Correct. It's, as Sarah indicated, there's a national housing shortage, and this is a way for them to attempt to increase the available
Was that the primary
stock.
logic?
I
We don't
honestly
know.
don't know.
We don't
I mean,
know.
we could certainly look at it.
And it may be subject to challenge down the road, but as of now, it's a requirement that you need to adopt it.
And I totally, it's the way it is nowadays with prefab homes, and some of them can be very beautiful.
That's right.
But there again, you hate to see somebody that's got a home worth $900,000 and God forbid a fire or something, and then a prefab comes home and just doesn't match,
Or
even
they-
close to it.
Or Greg, they just buy a home that's in somewhat, degraded condition and put that in there.
You're right.
Basically, a Clayton home would qualify as qualified manufactured housing. Well, I don't know I know that when we spent all that time in Z21, it was unanimous that we did not want it. So I understand the situation. It's a matter of principle.
Yeah, I just, on record, I agree, but I don't know, just being obstinate like that to agree, to vote no and then have it
Right.
Yeah.
upheld.
yeah.
I don't like
it's
being in that
hard.
situation.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say that at our
Sorry,
mayor's
clear.
meeting, they brought up that there's a lot of things going on at the state level, that they're trying to intervene and take over a lot of the city's duties, that it's always been the city's duty, and it should be left as the city's duty. So they're fighting some of those House bills.
Right.
Which is important.
Anyway, so
They said
we'll have
yes,
a roll call and vote here. Greg,
No.
Emily,
I'm a reluctant yes. She said yes.
It was a reluctant yes.
It was
but
a
yes.
reluctant.
oh, so
That was the part you didn't hear, sorry.
yes, okay.
It's not a big deal.
Sarah,
Yes.
Pam,
No.
Laura, yes.
and Steve.
Disappointed, yes.
Ooh, I like that. Reluctant and disappointed.
Might be a good way to put it.
Okay, we have first reading of ordinance number 2.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Park Hills, Kentucky, creating in Title III Administrations of the Code of Ordinances a new Chapter 34, establishing and adopting an internal procurement policy.
I'll make a motion.
It's a first reading. I do have some comments about, and I can wait until either after the next ordinance, or I think I'll just go now. After our last caucus meeting, I emailed Mr. Braun because my intent was to work with him on procurement language before anything was brought to us before a first reading. And my goal was really to ensure that we developed one coordinated approach, because, as I think you all know, I've been working also on this ordinance this process and ordinance and, all of the different parts of it. And, I feel like we've been working in parallel. So I didn't receive a reply before these ordinances were placed on the agenda. And in my view, adding the ordinances to the agenda before that coordination occurred was a bit premature. And whether we might agree, but I really think it's important. Like, we might agree on what what to include in the ordinances. But I just want to point out that the city attorney serves the entire council as well as the mayor. And when council members are drafting legislation, and I happen to be a writer and an editor, so this is kind of my wheelhouse, but not everybody is. And I think it's important that we need to be able to work directly with the city attorney so we're not doing double the work. And so I just wanted to point this out because I really want to ask you, Mr. Braun, I'd hope to work with you on this, and I would like to be able to do that before we come to the second reading.
My reply to you was that, and the mayor indicated to me she thought this was overkill. You already have a policy. All you wanted to do was adopt it in ordinance form and make it part of the appendix. This is first reading. This is your opportunity to discuss it with council and me if you want to. So you get your opportunity.
And we had a caucus, and the reason I said it was because we had a caucus and it was brought up that one of yours was in municipal form, which doesn't get recorded as an ordinance to be published. So no one, the whole idea is so people can look up an ordinance and see the procurement policy. And so it would be attached to it, and an ordinance would do that. And that's the whole reason for the ordinance instead of the municipal order.
I understand
We
that.
spoke about that at the caucus.
We
I
did,
recall.
and in the caucus, I specifically asked to work with Mr. Braun. I do not need to have you intervene. I need to be able to have these conversations with him directly so that I understand what his point of view is and he understands mine, and we can come to some sort of conclusion. Mr. Braun is not a member of the legislative body. Like,
Sarah,
this is,
Sarah, I know this, okay?
I know you do.
You did talk to him individually.
No, I
You
didn't.
sent an email to him,
That didn't get a
and we
reply.
talked about it, and he got back to you. And yes, I did weigh in, and he has a feeling, he wrote it, so he does have a feeling about
Of course.
what it is. I mean, he studied law, he has a license,
course.
and so I believe that ordinance form, the way he had it was the proper way to go. And that,
Listen,
we're
this
first
is-
reading, so if we want to hash it out at the next one,
well, but I think the problem is, and I'm sorry, Pam.
No, it's okay.
The problem is that the process that I put together is not represented here at all. And I want to understand why that is just not even a consideration here. I need to understand, what is it that, like, why can't I work on something like this and have it actually be a collaborative process instead of feeling like I have to constantly work in parallel? And I requested at that meeting that I would be able to work with Mr. Braun. You didn't say yes, but I shouldn't have to get your approval to do that. So I just think it's important, and I'm happy to discuss what's being put forth here today. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's what I asked for. And I don't understand why I can't have that direct conversation.
You
It is not.
do
let me
have
please
direct
finish.
contact.
It was not. I did not get to have a conversation with Mr. Braun. I got an email on Friday, an hour before the agenda came out. Or no, actually, I'm sorry. It was after the agenda came out. It was at 5:30. So that's not acceptable to me.
May I just
Yes.
suggest something conciliatory, that we're all sitting here together? Let's have the conversation, and it's good to have it publicly anyway, so let's have it.
It
It's
is.
a good time for it.
And we have had this discussion, and I
But
voted ordinance.
Mr. Braun, you weren't here at the caucus meeting,
Correct.
so this is a good time to talk to Mr. Braun about it, because he
Just
wasn't
because I
there.
wrote this ordinance doesn't mean you have to pass it this way, and you're free to introduce yours, and if the council wants yours instead,
So
that's
let's
fine.
talk
This is the
about
open
it. I mean-
discussion.
But it's not my goal to introduce my own ordinance, in comparison to a set of ordinances coming from the city attorney. That's not how this is supposed to work. We're supposed to be able to collaborate. I mean, I hear, like, I guess I don't understand. Would you be willing, can you make eye contact with me?
Of
Can
course
you
I'm
work-
willing to do it, but
Can you
you're
work
missing
with
the
other?
point is that all we're supposed to, we have a procurement policy now. You want to adopt it so it becomes part of the ordinances. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just adopt it, make it part of the appendix, and move on. If you have suggestions with regard to changes to the policy, that's fine. We can discuss those, but that's not the purpose behind this.
This is not about the policy. This is about how it's adopted. Some of the things that we talked about, and we can talk specifically about this ordinance since this is
I
what's
think that would be
here.
good. We're here.
But I will say that adding it to the appendix is fine, but will we have to update the code every time that it changes? That was what I was trying to avoid. That was why I had a different process in place that included a municipal order as a template. So it would be an ordinance that sets the process and describes where the policy goes and how residents can find it, and also be able to understand, like, basically adopt the state code, like, do all the things that we're doing in these two ordinances, but do it in an existing chapter in a way that's a lot more evergreen. And I think it's confusing. I mean, I understand it's hard, but I've passed out twice during meetings, a whole packet explaining the process, and I hope everybody had a chance to read it. I hope you had a chance to read it, Mr. Braun. So I don't think there's anything super
Well, Sarah, if I may
inherently
say,
wrong.
I did read it,
We had a caucus
And-
meeting with those
and we
materials
discussed
here.
it, and I guess my point that I made at the caucus meeting is that your top concern is that transparency, access. Well, for residents to be able to access our procurement policy, it needs to be in our code, part of the codification. Otherwise, if it's a municipal order, they gotta come to the city building and they gotta go through the file cabinets. I mean, maybe someday that'll change, but right now, that's how it is. So I see it as advantageous to residents to do it in this structure. And no, we're not gonna have to change it every time because we're building that evergreen feature into this. So when the state law changes, our policy automatically changes because it reflects the state law.
So two things. One, the municipal order just is for our council, for us to adopt it. What we have currently has been adopted by executive order for a long time. I think council needs to have a say in that, and that we get that either with a municipal order or an ordinance. So, on top of that, if you'd read the ordinance that I wrote, it describes very clearly that the policy has to be published online so everybody can access it. You know, I understand there are different ways to do this, and I am open to do it 2 different ways. But I think if we do it this way, the appendix has to be updated every time we change the policy. And that costs us something more. That is additional codification. That's my understanding of this. And I was trying to avoid those extra costs through a different kind of process. I'm open to different ideas. I've presented it at least twice now. I've shared it with the city attorney. I've shared, you know, I don't know, I cannot, I don't know, I could do a presentation if that makes sense, but
Is that true, Mr. Braun, that it would have to be updated every time?
Not necessarily. If you make it, this is policy now, not the procurement code. If you make an internal change to policy, it can be done by executive order, included into the policy, and when the appendix is updated every year by the code service, it'll be included.
But that's the key, right? You update it every year or whenever it needs to be updated as a, because here in this, it says, a copy of which is attached here to, et cetera, should be included as an appendix to the code of ordinances. Every time the policy updates, we update the policy.
Be the same thing when you update ordinances or
That's right.
repeal ordinances.
So that's codification that requires an update that we have to pay for.
And that's the way to get it published, though. That's the only way to publish it.
And I do think that,
It's not.
I remain of the opinion this is the cleanest way, the least confusing way to do it. But I do think it's a good idea to also put our procurement policy, you know, online. I mean, it will be online in the form of the ordinance and it's available to everyone, but you know, there's nothing to hide there. It's a very straightforward and I think appropriate policy for our city.
I still think it would be more straightforward and more evergreen if we had an ordinance that adopted how we do it, like how we go about this process. And I didn't bring a copy of it tonight because I really just, I don't, you know, my goal here is to really be able to work with you, Mr. Braun. Like, I want to be able to do that on an ongoing basis because this is going to come up again. Like, I feel like I overbuild every time I want to make a change. I follow all the rules. I come to the caucus meeting and I prepare all the documents and I do all these things that I don't see other situations where we're doing all of that. And still, I'm not getting any traction when it comes to actually working on the ordinances together. I mean, in the past, you know, like when Kyle Winslow was our attorney, he was wonderful. Like we could have a phone call and have an email and have a conversation, and that's just not happening here. I think it's really important that we are able to do that.
I'll agree.
Do you get emails from council?
Okay, well, typically only from Ms. Froelich, but occasionally.
Nothing's preventing
Well, I
you
answer
from,
to you, so
emailing
I
you.
give you
Well,
the information, you determine
okay.
how I should proceed accordingly.
But I don't think that's how that's supposed to work.
But you're bringing up suggested changes to the ordinance right now. You can discuss them, and if you want me to make amendments to it, then we make them accordingly.
I want this to be entirely different. That's the
Why can't
point.
we discuss it now, then that way if somebody else might have some issues, good, bad, or indifferent, instead of just one on, two,
Okay.
you guys together.
Sarah.
One thing real quick, excuse me, Mayor. Can people, do I need to close these windows so everybody can hear? Excuse me real quick. Let me.
The road's pretty low.
The traffic's out there pretty loud.
Are you okay?
That's a tough one, Emily. It doesn't work just right.
It's a shared crank.
Crank on that one?
Yeah, it's a shared crank.
Is there a crank on that one?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Well, just to be clear, does anybody have a problem with, and I'm not talking about that now, but I think it's worth asking, the actual procurement policy? Is everybody good with that?
That's not part of this review.
It is not, but I'm asking the question.
I don't have an answer to that because that's not where we are in this process.
From the caucus and what I've
Thanks,
seen
Frank.
of
Good question.
the municipal order, if you did do it in a municipal order type, and-
Can you please, can you explain when you say when you did do it?
well.
What do you mean?
Well, what you brought to caucus was municipal form.
It was an ordinance that lays out the process that includes a template for a municipal order that we can use to adopt the policy going forward. It's a layered process. I understand that that's complicated, but to me, that is a good way to lay out how not only we make this, yes, and also that we're agreeing to it, but also how to publish it. It has that information in the ordinance as well.
Okay, because my understanding, you want the people, the audience, the residents, anybody outside of us to be able to have easy access to it.
Sure.
And that would be an ordinance form, because nothing else gets published. The other way they would get it is they'd have to, even if it says we do this, this, and this, and you can find it on municipal order such and such, they'd have to call Julie to go and find that.
No, because the ordinance states that that it would be published on our website. So you could go to our website and find the policy. And then you wouldn't even have to go find out where the code is and go search for it. You would just know to go to the website to find the procurement policy.
I'm a big fan of simplicity. That's a lot of extra steps. So I'm a fan of, let's just keep it simple. But I mean, we can disagree on that. That's how I see it. I think making the evergreen aspects, which we have done, because that has been an issue in the past where the state updates their law and then, but when we reference back to that, then it's an automatic adjustment, so.
I want to ask you, Pam, when you say that it's complicated, who is it more complicated for?
Someone trying to
I
find
think
it.
for someone trying to interpret and locate it.
So
I
you
think
think it's harder-
somebody can go to our code and they can bring it up and they can read it. I think that's one step.
So you
one
think it's
step.
easier to find it in the code than it is to just find it on our website?
I actually do, yeah, and I think it gives it a little bit more context too. I mean, things on the website, that's great, you can do that too. But I think it's easier to find it in the code, and
I'll
I
make a
think it's more
survey.
appropriate too. So, we just disagree on how to proceed there. I have not looked into how other cities do it. Mr. Braun, how do other cities do it?
If you were to take the code and go to the appendix of the code or the index and put in procurement, it would lead you to this ordinance, and you read the ordinance and it would say it's in the appendix, you go to the appendix, and there's your policy.
I don't know, let's ask somebody.
I was going to say, Pam, I agree with you on making things as simple and accessible as humanly possible, but I don't want to make the assumption that folks that serve this body might think that finding it one way is easier than the other. I think we all digest and search for information differently, so we
That is
can't
true.
make those assumptions. Like what Sarah might think is very easy, I probably don't, or I might. I don't know. It just depends on the situation. So I agree. Like, I would love to know what people thought. I don't know what is easier, if I'm being very honest. I don't know. Because I think either way, it is work to search for something. That's also why I'm excited for our later conversation, because I think there's easier ways to do a lot of this in the long
Create a
term.
separate link. Create a separate link
A separate link to what?
to the procurement policy. You can have a separate link for
Well,
it. This just allows you to put it in the code of ordinance as an appendix, and you can have a link that says, oh, procurement policy, click on it, and there it is.
Is that what you're
Exactly, that's what I'm
that's-
suggesting.
Okay, I was gonna say, that
That's
sounds like
exactly
what you're
my
suggesting.
plan suggests.
It suggests a link.
It suggests that we are required to have a link to the procurement policy on our website.
See, that's an easy amendment to make to this ordinance, just,
But there's more that I added to it in the ordinance, and this is why it's important for me to be able to have this conversation with you. Because I don't, it's good for us to do it here, but it's also,
Well, it actually is, because then it's more public and transparent. So, I'm interested to hear how this turns out for me, and maybe I just think that our codification is more important than it is. But for me, I like the idea that I could go and I can look in the code and I can identify this policy.
so tonight we're looking at two different ordinances to do this one thing. Well, it's actually two things that could be done together. And the proposed ordinance that I wrote covers all of the same ground. I'm sure it could use some different language that the attorney can help me with, that Mr. Braun can help with. But, I think that, we're creating two new chapters. And I think that, what I propose is including it in an existing chapter. I don't think it necessarily has to be two new chapters to do these things.
but your procurement policy is an internal mechanism for how you're going to do things when city officials or city employees use the credit card and things of that nature. The procurement policy has to do when you're purchasing items or undertaking developments over the $50,000 limit. And so they need to be separate. One's policy and one's the code for how to procure in those situations other than the internal mechanisms.
Right, but if we chose to make the procurement policy available online through a link, then we don't have to codify it and change it over and over. Like every time we update the policy, we don't have to change the appendix every time we do that. That was what I was trying to avoid.
Confused.
I was gonna say, I think, I could be wrong, but I feel like we're all kind of saying the same thing in different ways. It feels a little bit like that. Because I think the goal for everyone is the same in a lot of ways, like simplicity, access, transparency, like we're all trying to get to that same, we're just going down different roads to get there. And
That's exactly right.
so, but
The goal is the same, yeah.
could I ask a question, Mr. Brown? So with the procurement piece, is it just, like, I understand, like, if somebody from the police department is using a credit card to get gas or whatever it is, versus, we're spending $100,000 on a piece of equipment or something like that. It's just that threshold is the difference? Why do you say?
Yeah, one's internal, and how we operate, the other
in the
one is
policy.
for.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to say it out
Now
loud.
with the KRS.
And just for what it's worth, we have a policy.
Yeah, it does
Just to be
exist.
clear.
Yes.
It's just that, when I was asking for it, I had trouble, like Julie she sent me one that was outdated the first time. So that showed me that, it wasn't totally clear to everybody. And I think if it's not clear to us, I'm sure it's not clear to residents. So I think it's important that we're making it available, and that was the whole point. I didn't think it was gonna be this difficult. I thought I would be able to make a proposal and discuss it with the attorney and bring it to council as a first read, I thought that it would follow that path. But instead, we found ourselves in a situation where I'm writing something and then Mr. Braun's writing something else, and we're not having clear communication about it. And
How do we move forward
we
from here
need to
then?
do that.
I guess.
We need to be able to talk about this.
And that's what you're doing. And I take directions from the mayor with regard to these matters. You were making it more complicated than it needed to be. But what I'm hearing is you could take the ordinance as I wrote it. You want a link to the policy so it's understandable to the citizenry. And since we already have a policy in effect, what I'm secondarily hearing is that you want to create some mechanism for how to adopt changes to that policy in the future.
Correct. And I laid it out I felt like it was very clear in my email to you, so please, if you would please take a look at
I
that.
don't disagree, but it's not up to me to make the decision. You're discussing it here, your other council members can weigh in and decide if they want me to amend this ordinance, they go with yours, go with mine, or whatever.
I propose that we, instead of doing these two ordinances, let's take a look at the ordinance that I wrote and bring it back as a first reading next time. And we can coordinate on that. I definitely think I want your input on the language in case there's anything that needs to be corrected, but what I don't want to do is move forward in parallel like this with two different ordinances and, there not being any clear collaboration between us. I think it's important that this collaboration is available to all of us council members.
I think there is collaboration, that's what you're undertaking right now, and if you give me instructions to make changes, I'll do it based on your collaboration.
I found the ordinance and the municipal to be confusing. Because it was,
Can you say why?
well, the ordinance laid out pretty much, the instructions and the code, but then the municipal, I didn't see anything in there about a link.
Because it's a
That-
template. The municipal order was a template that goes with the ordinance for future adoption.
And that's what it was in
So
your municipal one.
after we adopt the ordinance, we would vote on the ordinance first, and that would set up the process. And then we would take the policy and adopt it by municipal order, so that it's being adopted by council,
But-
rather than by executive order, which is what we've been doing to date.
But the advantage of the policy itself being in the appendix is that it's accessible through the code. So
It
I
is.
just remain convinced that that is the most transparent and clear-cut approach to making our laws available to anyone who wants to see them.
Well, then could we do both? I think that could be an option. We could have an appendix, have it attached as an appendix in the code, and then also have a process requirement that we adopt it. Well, I guess that would eliminate, I guess we could do that.
Yeah, because I think it'd be redundant.
But I think it still needs to be some of the language that I wrote.
I'm fine with that, but I'm just all about trying to keep our laws in one place in an organized manner. It's kind of like, I look at it like a library,
Well, we have
You want
to.
to find a book, you want to know where to go
Have it.
and what shelf to look on, so,
Yeah,
okay.
makes sense.
So why don't you then, with respect to your question, Laura, how do we move forward? Do you want to bring that to, we have a caucus meeting coming up, do we want to review this again at the caucus meeting?
I can do that, but I want to be clear, I'm doing a lot of work to put this together. I want to make sure that our
Mr.
city
Braun will be
attorney
here on the
is
caucus.
going to be collaborating on this, because I don't want to come at this again and have it just rewritten again.
But we would make sure that the policy itself is in our code, in the appendix of the code.
Yes.
Okay.
And we can do it that way, but we also need to make sure then that the policy is up to date and correct, and that it's what we want.
Okay.
And I think it's nice that we all have a say in how it's read. I mean, no disrespect that you want to just go with the attorney, but we might have some ideas also, Sarah, so let's bring it to the table instead of one, even though your expertise is that, my expertise is remodeling, stuff like that, but I don't expect that, it's just, I think it ought to be brought to the table, the citizens can hear it, and then everybody might have a little input on it, instead of just you two working on something. Bring it to a caucus meeting.
It has to be, Greg. So please
What
understand.
has to be, I'm sorry, what has to be?
We always have to have a first and second reading.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, if anybody's got a suggestion in an ordinance or anything, instead of contact the attorney, bring it up at a caucus meeting or a meeting so we all can discuss it together. That's all I'm saying.
But we don't want
That's
to be
what
in
I'm
a
saying.
position where, do you think it's necessary that every word of every ordinance that we write is done in a group setting like this?
I think if we're talking about transparency, that's what you swear on, so I think yes.
I think that's an impossibility if we really
Well,
want to get
we
things
talked
done.
about it tonight for what, half an hour now. Hopefully we got things squared away. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Well, so ordinance 3 was the first reading as well, so should we postpone that or
If you want to
go?
table it, that's fine.
table it till we have a caucus and,
Different thing.
Yeah, I think we need to.
all right, and that Mr. Brown will be here at the
Do
caucus.
you want a motion to table it?
Yes.
Should we
Need
table
a-
both?
I think so, yeah.
I'm so sorry. I got one more question.
Yeah.
So I was listening to you and Greg talk. Was the request or what you were asking for, to me, I interpreted it as, you were looking for support in language development from our attorney to bring things like this to caucus for open discussion.
Correct.
Okay. That's what, I just wanted to make sure.
Correct.
That's how I understood it. I want to make sure that was correct.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to table first reading of ordinance number 2 and the first reading of ordinance number 3.
I second that.
And isn't that 1 and 2?
2 and 3.
2 and 3, okay. Oh, yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Oh,
Oh, you did.
Sarah did.
Sorry.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Greg?
Yes.
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 We have municipal order number 5.
In order, the City Council of the City of Park Hills, Kentucky, hiring and appointing Brian Cornett to the position of a part-time police officer in the Park Hills Police Department.
And this was back at the February meeting, so now it's put in writing. And, we take votes again on it? or-
Yeah, this
Okay.
just formalizes the agreement you
Okay.
reached at the last meeting, the hiring effective as of February 11th.
So I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to
I'll
approve.
second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
We have executive order number 1.
Executive order listing the members of the Park Hills City Council Economic Development and Business Committee.
And for those of you who were on it, trying business people. And I know there's talk that these aren't business people, but they have either business here or they're affiliated with a business. And I was giving it a try. We used to have a business community, and they all met all the time, and they really did a lot for the city. And then that went away, so I thought this is a way to get them back together and possibly, that's what we're doing.
So I just have 2 follow-up questions. I love having the business folks. And my question has nothing to do with anyone on this committee. I have 2. My first one is, what is the scope of work for this group, and how will we define success for this group of individuals? I lied, I got 3 questions. Scope of work, how do we define success? Because economic development is a very specific body of work, and for a city of our size, it looks very different than it does statewide or even in a city like Covington
Right.
or Louisville. It's a completely different thing, and it's not a discussion of attractiveness or like, this is a great place to live. It is a funded, very specific body of work. So that's why I ask scope of work and how do we define success? From this point to this point next year, what would success look like?
Well, what I'm looking for is, I've spoken to Mr. Conway, and he had some really good ideas, and I had asked him to implement those, and tax advantage growth in business, do something with the highway and to attract, and yeah, he could probably speak more on it than I could. He gave me a whole list, so if you want.
I think the mission statement we adopted at our.
Can you please go to the
I don't think they can, so they can hear you on TV. So we'd be famous on TV.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
put the spotlight on you.
Yeah.
What's your head?
You're being recorded. Thank you. The mission statement and list of priorities that we adopted at the first economic development meeting 2 years ago still stand as the predominant, and I'll be glad to circulate that again. But it spells out exactly what you're asking for, Emily.
Okay.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
Specific development activities.
Okay. So we're focusing strictly on development, not current business, retention. I'm asking for a reason. So I love that this committee is continuing, but Mike, you know that the struggles that we have had, because it's a funded body of work. That's what it is. I appreciate the volunteerism, but I just want to make sure that the folks who are volunteering just like you do, that it's a good use of time and we have measures of success at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And no activity, results, right?
Yeah.
Specific results that we want to accomplish within the city. And
Yeah.
it's improving our business district. That's from possibly new businesses, renovations of existing businesses. Some businesses may want to sell over in the future, and that creates another opportunity, like the Szechuan Gardens is creating an opportunity today. So those would be the things we focus on. Grants, things that can help us leapfrog forward financially, and increase property taxes and payroll taxes for the city. That would be and quality of amenities for our residents would be the other side of it.
I have a question, Mr. Conway. Your background, could you give me a little bit on your background?
Sure. I was president and CEO of Weingartner Hammonds, which is a hotel management development company here in Cincinnati, 60-year-old company. In 2015, we merged with Pyramid Global Hospitality out of Boston. We have 280 hotels, and I'm the executive vice president of development.
So this is right up your alley. We're somewhat right up your alley.
I don't think we'll probably be building a hotel
Well, I
here,
don't
but
mean that, but I mean-
yes, yes.
How things
The
lay out.
concept is the same, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a couple. You.
Oh, you go ahead. I've got one last question.
Yeah, I received an email from a resident who just had some questions, so I just want to read that email. It said, "Good morning. I see that the mayor is disbanding most of the current Economic Development Committee. I cannot attend the meeting tomorrow, and I am hoping you can voice my concerns. Can you get on the record by asking if the minutes that have been kept so precisely for many years, thank you, Sarah, will continue to be kept properly, accurately, and posted timely? I know I depend on the minutes and others do as well. Secondly, since there are 0 council people on the committee, do the members know the rules and procedures with respect to, or I think it's respect, to public notification of meeting times, minute taking, quorum, etc.? Is Mike Conway as chair responsible, and has this been clearly explained to him? Thank you for reading and assisting with my concerns."
Yes, it has. No, it's all good. Yeah, absolutely.
At first glance, I did not see a council member on there. Is that unprecedented, or is that,
I don't know.
I mean, to act as a
decided-
liaison for the
I'm
council?
giving it a try, and that's where I went with it, so.
I also have one correction, pardon me, for the executive order. Chris Carley's last name is misspelled.
It's a E, not a Y.
Yes.
I've got one last question, and I'll leave it
Allegedly,
alone.
no.
The barriers that we have experienced in this committee over the last 2 years. We've done a lot of research, we've done direct business engagement, we've done a lot of the things. Like I was saying to Mike, like, it's a funded body of work, and it will require financial support for the change that is being proposed. Will those barriers remain, or are we gonna be more flexible in meeting the moment for economic development? I'm asking like as a council and as.
Yeah. Because ultimately, we make those decisions, not the
Right.
committee.
Right. No, they would just make recommendations, and
Right,
council
right.
would decide anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. Never.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I lied, I got one more. I'm really sorry. I have a lot of questions
That's
today.
okay.
I know. Thank you. My question remains, and I hope we can talk about this at a caucus meeting. I still believe that if we're revamping this, I still believe that there is a need for a targeted community engagement committee. I believe in that with my whole heart. I believe this is a great community. I think, in our discussion later, I'll bring up a piece of that, but I still think that is, there are people who want to volunteer. We all know that, and I think that is an easy way for people to do it. It requires creativity, it requires commitment, it requires, a love for the city, and I think something focused strictly on community engagement might be something we can consider.
I support that.
I agree.
I think it's a great idea also. I think the more committed the citizens we get involved, or, this side, that side, all
around.
be involved. I think it's great.
So could we enact that as council, I think, like a committee? like
I
collectively?
don't know, is that the mayor's, I honestly
I think
don't
we
know.
could. I think we could if we,
The rules on that.
Yeah, well,
I think, I can look it up. Or if you want to.
No, I can. I just have I have no clue.
Okay, we'll find out and then I'll let you know. We'll move on to Chief Stanley's report.
Be right back.
Should we pause?
Wouldn't hurt to pause.
Pause button.
No rush.
I'm here all night.
No trucks.
On that page.
All Voltes, isn't it? So this is the actual policy, which I think is pretty generic, but I do think we'll all benefit from it being in the code.
We could have him start with the report, because it's nothing we're voting on or anything.
Everybody have an opportunity to read my report?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions on my report?
Yes.
That good, that's,
It's a pretty small question. Thank you for adding the code violations listing. I feel like I've asked this before, but just, I feel like it's a little bit different each time. So I was wondering, how do you determine whether someone gets a warning or a citation for the same action? So like expired registration or no parking zone, because I see a
that would
variety.
be up to the individual officer, depending on the circumstances of the violation they come across. They make that decision. It is our practice that someone comes in to pay a parking ticket, city citation, we have a tendency to waive them, especially if it's like expired registration, but we've got their registration renewed, we just go ahead and waive it because they did what they were in violation of. If it's something minor, we can tell them don't do it again. We appreciate the fact that they're coming to pay it. Sometimes it's a nice gesture on their behalf. So it's an officer discretion at the time of the citation. And then we go from there.
Okay.
And they keep track of whether they have warnings before.
I would presume.
Well, I know I asked this because I had a visitor to my house park the wrong way on the street and I didn't know, and they got a ticket. They didn't get a warning, they don't live in the city, they just didn't know, and they got a ticket. So I was just curious, like, is that customary? Is that always,
Was it waived when they went to pay it?
No.
Wait, did they come to the office to pay it or did they mail it in?
I think they mailed it in because they don't live locally.
Well, that's unfortunate.
It was. I felt bad, so I paid for it.
I mean, I understand everybody feels bad when somebody pays a citation, but we have to, it's up to city council, they want to handle things. We had
You're
this
right.
discussion on the snow emergency.
Yeah.
And there were several residents who voiced their displeasure at the fact that we give warnings instead of giving citations when they take the time to get the cars off the street. Then we give
Can't wait.
warnings to people who don't do that. So it makes the residents feel like, why am I going through this if there's not a consequence? And that's the same thing with some of these violations. It may seem meaningless to some, But we do have ordinances that address these type of violations. So we have to decide, are we going to waive all of them, give warnings to all of them, or cite immediately?
I think it's important that that flexibility remain with the officer who's on the scene, who has the experience to make that judgment. I don't think we're able to make that judgment at our great distance. It needs to be the person on the scene. Now, you're the chief. If you see them abusing that judgment, well, you've got to reprimand them.
We
But
really have to understand is there an abuse of citing people for a violation, if they're in violation.
But I think that has to remain a police decision.
The state does that for KRS violations, excluding warnings, felonies and things like that, but the police officer will determine whether they're going to issue a
I think the
ticket.
state often has good wisdom on these issues.
I guess I wonder if we, for some of these smaller things, like parking the wrong way on the street or something like that, you bring up a good point, that maybe that's something like snow emergencies, like in those categories, if we were more clear in our code, then we would be able to say, if it's the first time it's happening, it's a warning or something like that.
It's very difficult, and I think the state builds that flexibility into their law based on experience. It's very difficult to cover all of the potential problems that might affect that officer's decision, whether to give a warning ticket or a ticket. I mean, I know I brought it up at a meeting a couple months ago, but on my street, there was a really dangerous situation, and it turned out the person was just very ill and was incapable of doing that. So I thought the police responded very helpfully. All the neighbors were appreciative of their help, so.
As far as that one particular violation goes, I believe that most cities in the state of Kentucky have that in their policies and norms. There's also a KRS that considers that a violation for the normal traffic street based on the wrong
It
direction on the
is.
side of the street.
Yeah.
So, but again, I understand what you're saying. You felt bad because some people just, for whatever reason.
Chief, there's a question back there.
Yes.
Why do we put signs up? People don't read them. We're putting them in yards and people don't read them. And then they don't want a ticket. I'm sorry. We all read English, right? We should be able to read signs and obey them. I'm sorry. I just had to say my piece.
Well, at the moment you go by without recognizing that we're the third safest city.
Well done, yes, that's a big deal.
I like that.
That is, Very
Third
big deal.
safest city in the state of Kentucky.
and were it not for the coyotes and the skunks, we'd probably be the first safest, so. Who was the first safest?
It was Edgewood and
Well,
Southgate.
we're actually the
Okay.
same as the cities.
Yeah, they're all rated the same.
Well, that is a big deal, and I'm really happy for our city
Yeah,
that that
nice
is the
press.
case.
Well, just so you know, Southgate has more officers than we have, and they also have a canine and drone that we don't have. So,
And they're the
What's
same
the
as
population
us.
of Southgate?
It's pretty big.
a little bigger, not much bigger.
Really? I thought it
I
was
thought it
pretty
was
much bigger.
significantly bigger.
It's wild to me that
They've got a pretty good business district, too.
dangerous.
I know.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Anything else for,
Yeah.
anything else for Chief?
Any other questions?
I just wanted to say that I appreciate the social media post introducing the police officers that way.
Yes.
I like it, it's good.
We're going to try to become more proactive and active on our social media.
Well, I think that's nice.
Chief Rigby?
Our report's been submitted for the month of February. I just got the run totals and everything on it to break down. One thing I did want to point out is we did receive a $7,000 grant from the State Fire Commission for personal protective equipment.
Great.
Yeah, very appreciative of that. Does anybody have any questions?
I know what PPE means in the medical field. What does it mean for you?
Same, personal protective equipment. So basically, you see the firefighters, they wear the pants and the coat. Those are about $3,500 a piece.
Wow.
So 7,000, get 2 of those.
Wow.
So
Wow. Just 2. That's crazy.
that's it.
We just had a presentation at work from the fire commission, and they showed like their training program and everything that they had. It was wild. So thank you. It was just, I know it was hard work, but like watching that, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
It's
You have a
amazing.
new member?
Yes, we do. He's currently in the recruit class out in Boone County. So he's going to class 3 nights a week.
Great.
Pretty busy. But that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Dan?
Good evening, Mayor Dunbar, members of council. As for another month, as always, winter's officially over in 11 days. Please count.
Won't say it out loud.
With that being said, the citywide cleanup is April 18th at 9 a.m. here at this city building. Looking for volunteers as always, and thanks to those who helped before, and look forward to more as well. Another sign of spring is the construction project. So please be aware and careful so everyone returns home safely. Still early in the season for us, but we're looking at a few projects, and I'll let Jay Bear or Mayor Zumba share that information. And then comes the yard work. Oh boy, can't wait. Please do not blow grass clippings or dump debris in the streets. It causes problems in the sewers, not to mention it's tacky and ugly. Thank you for that.
Don't sugarcoat it.
We've had a couple of parade and flag raising ceremony meetings, and as always, we need everyone's support to help make this a big success as always, and thanks to all of our veterans. Anybody have any questions?
Well, if somebody wants to volunteer for the parade committee, they'll be glad to have help.
How do they volunteer for the committee?
Show
Okay.
up,
Wait.
when is it?
When are
Next
the
Tuesday?
meeting?
Yes.
No, Tuesday a week. I don't know. I'll get it sent to you and let you know.
Okay, that
Okay.
way we
We
can all,
need volunteers
that way
the
we can
day-
all share it, yeah.
We need volunteers the day before and the day after, because we have to set up tents, we have to tear down tents. We have lots of work.
Could we create like a Microsoft form or a Google form, something simple where people could sign up to volunteer and we can share?
I'll have my
information?
people get with your people.
Let's do that.
And also, could we at least put the meeting on the city calendar?
Yeah.
So that everybody knows when it is?
Okay.
And then,
Who's on the committee this year?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he joined.
And sort of similarly with the
Somebody's
citywide,
name.
with the citywide cleanup, can we make sure that I know Laura has got this on lock, but I'm wondering if we can make sure I'm not sure, maybe it's already on the calendar, but make sure it's on the city calendar, make sure that we're
Yeah, it's too late
sharing
for the
it on
newsletter, that's
Facebook
unfortunate.
and.
Can we do a reach on that?
I think that'd be, and do you have like
Originally?
a digital sign up or something like that?
It can be on the digital
Is it on
sign
the
for
digital
sure.
sign?
Digital sign or digital sign, that and, yes and.
Sign up.
A
like
digital
some
sign
way
up,
to sign up
like-
for.
We create, well, we use Microsoft, we have Outlook, so we have
We can use
Microsoft Forms, like creating a form where people can sign up. And that way you have their email address and be like, hey, don't forget,
Yeah.
Right.
signed up, see you at 8.
And Sarah created a really nice Canva flyer, so I'm going to distribute that to area businesses. And also had the idea, to Pam's point at the rec meeting, Parks and Rec meeting, invite the folks on the other side of the highway, farther back at the end of St. Joseph, bring it to their rental property office, and, maybe even provide some bags and gloves for them if they'd like to participate.
Yeah, and while we're on that cleanup topic, I want to thank Dan because with the accumulation of snow and all the precipitation, a lot of litter showed up on Amsterdam, and Dan and his part-time workers picked that up for us. You know, it's great to have a once-a-year cleanup for our city, but really cleanup is once a week. And this guy does it, so I thank him for that.
Actually, I'm so glad you said that because I learned over the weekend that Fort Wright has a cleanup every month.
You really need it. I mean,
Yeah.
for example, I don't know why, but that stretch of Amsterdam, I've lived here like for life, and that's always the litter section. I don't know why.
It's where the wind blows, maybe.
I don't think so. It's an accumulation of Fireball liquor bottles, and it's always the same stuff, you know. Yeah,
Stuff's poison.
I know.
Should we, too, with with any committee, but specifically the cleanup, have we engaged Notre Dame or Cov Cath at all for like volunteer hours for them to participate?
We have not, but we do engage them for other things.
Okay.
I know Dan has expressed some concern about the students, you don't want them on the highway or the,
Well, everybody has to be very careful, and that's why we
Yeah.
always try to have a truck at the very back, and everybody works in front of the truck, that, God
And
forbid
honestly,
something happens.
one year I found a needle, so.
listen, I have found needles in the park
Yeah.
several times. You really have to have
containers to
gloves
put
when you
them
do
in, so-
this.
Yeah, I know, but as far as having the students
Yeah.
do that, might be.
No, that's what I say, if anybody finds one, let me know. I will handle it and dispose of it properly.
Right. That's usually instructed right off the bat.
And also, thank you, Dan. I saw you out there.
I'll tell you what, it's getting tough for a fat old man to stoop over and pick that stuff up. I
Yeah,
need to,
you're
yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
And Jay's recuperating on his knee replacement. So his report's really not changed. He did send out he put together a list to send out to concrete people to do our bus stop. So
Great.
that's what he's working on now, to get his stuff together and send that out to them. And then the gateway hasn't changed, so we know. I did call for a meeting with them up there, and I haven't gotten back. I haven't gotten a call back, but I did reach out as well to their engineer. So sometime he'll call it back before anybody else. We have financials. I know Julie's not here to talk about anything, so if you have any questions, I did go over it and I didn't really see much of anything that was, I always look at the percentages and everything seems to be in line. I do know that the payroll has been really good. It's been coming in at a higher rate than we budgeted for, which I always like to see that because I'm kind of conservative on what I put in there in the beginning. And also our investment income jumped up, so that's a good thing too. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
I do have a couple of questions, and they're both on the same page.
Okay.
Which page is that?
Page 10, or page 7 of 10.
I'll try to.
That's for contracts. And I seem to remember that we were going to move, and I don't know if we have to wait until the new budget year or something like that, but the body camera maintenance and purchase on the top line, I thought we were going to move that to the police pay, police section. So if we can address that.
Well, I don't know that, depends if it's a contract for something that is not, I don't know how, if you know this, or the auditor told me, what you can put in under contracts is when you have a contract with them, and it's in the thousands, and so when we pay it like, it's not a monthly thing, it's like twice a year. And the reason this went over is we had the old system, which we still are trying to work that out where they owe us money. We haven't seen that yet, but that was part of that, what's included in there. So I'll get with Julie on that and see what she's done, if she's moved any, because I do know there was the 100th, and we had 2,000 for restoration of the columns on Park. So she did move that to
I saw that, yeah.
that line, so that worked out.
The tuck pointing, you mean on the
Right.
the walls.
Here, I'll make a
And that
note.
turned out to be actually much more substantial than we thought it was going to be. But it's done, it looks
I
really
thought-
good.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah, it looks great.
You mean cost-wise, it was more
not
substantial?
bad.
At work-wise,
Oh,
the column issue or going up on the left was in very bad condition. The entire top of it was gone and it had become, really undermined by that. And the giant bee nest that was in
Oh,
it.
that's right.
I was gonna say, it became bees.
Well, I'll get that answer from Julie. Anything else?
Yes, the heating and air conditioning agreement. I just wondered, it looks like in this last month we had a significant charge there. Maybe that's something to do with the winter.
Yes.
No,
I also
it
had a
actually-
significant charge in February.
Yeah, but this is,
It actually, they were here we had the boiler we thought went out, but they did fix it, didn't they? And so they said, well, you can get, if you pay early for the maintenance agreement, we'll give you, the repair will only cost this much. So we got the cheaper repair by paying ahead, so we're paid up.
Okay.
So it was actually a cost saving.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's paid ahead because it's always paid like in July.
Are you finished, Sarah?
Yes.
Well, I want to build on your one comment and refer back to something the mayor said on the defective body cameras. They have not been responsive. What are we going to do? What's the next step here?
We've sent them a letter.
I've sent a couple of demand letters to them with the typical response that they don't think they violated the contract provisions at all. So I'm waiting for authority to file suit if necessary.
You know, I mean, one would think under just the UCC, it should be fit for its intended purpose, and if it doesn't work, that is not fit for its intended purpose.
Well, I agree. I think we have valid reasons for doing so.
It's the type of
Part of
company.
the problem is, we're talking about a company in California that I'm having a difficult time securing exactly where they're located, who we're going to get served on.
Wow,
I know I
really?
can use the
Really?
long-arm
Okay.
statute to bring them into Kentucky, and that's what I would intend to do if we decide to file suit.
Well, I mean,
Taking
I don't know
judgment
how
and
much
collecting-
more time we want to fool around with this. I personally think we should file suit. I mean, this is
Yeah, that's
a
what we wanna do.
significant cost to
Yes.
the city, and when you
It's like
sell a
8,000.
product that doesn't work,
It was
that's
8,000.
not good for anybody.
So do we have a motion and a second? And
I made a motion, and Greg seconded. Okay, Linda,
roll call?
you gonna do roll call?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Greg? Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Sarah? Yes. Pam?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Do we have, well, I do have a request from council. I made a note to myself. It was brought up in the Finance Committee, and Chief Stanley had an option, he had a call, actually, right before that meeting, and it was, there was a discount on some cars, 2 police cars, and they reach 8,000 less if we could do it before the July comes around. So I talked to Finance Committee, and then they all weighed in on an email, and they recommended that we do it. But I would need 50,000 moved from the general fund to the capital to buy the two cars. They're both 24s, but they're at 8,000 savings each for what they normally cost.
Just a question, do we need 2 cars?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 are going on probably out to the
Our cars
pasture
are going to be, the ones we're replacing are 6 and 7 years old.
with 150.
90,000 miles each. City garage, county garage, who we contractors suggest, go over 60.
Okay.
We do, depending on the health of the car and the type of usage we have. I don't mind going over that, depending on the maintenance record of that car and what we use it for. So we have patrol cars that are being used on a daily basis that are over that, and they're being repaired at a high amount, which is reflected on our.
Right, the maintenance.
Help me
line.
understand, these are new cars?
Yes.
They're just
They're
2024s?
But they're new.
Yeah,
They're never been driven.
Yeah,
Okay.
And they had to get rid of them because of tax purposes. The 25s are coming out.
27.
27.
27, yeah.
27.
So do these cars have,
The warranty is.
Starts when you buy.
Okay.
Buy it, you still get the 3-year
okay,
warranty that the brand new cars have.
and these cars are as good as a 27?
Yes.
I mean, as far as
We have
equipment
some
goes?
now, but some of our cars are 24s.
Okay.
So, and. they
Nothing
were-
new and bright in 27 that we would be missing? Okay.
It's not worth the money if there is.
Okay.
And then the price.
If I might just say, it's been a policy, not a rigid policy, but of the Finance Committee that for budgeting purposes, we would try to buy 1 cruiser a year. That way, we know how to budget and we never get in the situation where, oh my gosh, we have 5 bad cars. But this was presented, and I think it was, unanimous from the Finance Committee that this is a good savings for the city. We did ask the questions that somebody here just asked, I think Laura, about warranty. And the warranty is the same as if it were a 26 or a 27. And structurally, that's all good too. Now, you will then put up for sale the other two vehicles
We will auction 2 cars off.
because we don't want to be
No,
insuring
exactly.
extra cars.
And I also won't ask for a car next year because.
That's the point I really wanted to make here. That's an important point, and that is a contingency.
And I won't have to, because now you're ahead of the curve.
Right, and that really was a big part of the discussion in the Finance Committee, because we don't want to get out of whack with our budgeting
And the savings
process.
is fairly
It's significant, yeah.
So I thought, take an opportunity and just go buy a car next year.
And what do you,
Because we've been
what do you
doing
think that
one
you get
every
for the-
year, but-
For the used cars on the
We have to decide which ones we're gonna get rid of and go
Okay.
from there. It's funny, cars I think are gonna bring good money don't, and cars I don't think bring money do.
Okay.
So it's one of those deals, you just
Never
don't
know.
know. Like my Charger, it brought more money than I thought it would, it's falling apart at the seams,
Yeah.
is what I was told. So it all depends on the circumstances.
And Chief, maybe you could just explain for everybody's benefit, the way in which these cars are disposed is a established process, so it's not like anybody's getting a side deal or something. I
And we have
mean,
to go through a company that auctions it for us, and then we give them a fee and go from there.
Yeah.
Last person that bought our car was from Pennsylvania, and he flew down.
it's a public auction, and that way we keep
Right,
everything
it'll come to
tip-top.
us for surplus to put it on.
And I just want to, clarify a couple things. I know I attended that Financial Oversight Committee meeting, and I thought when I was there that they were 2023, not 2024, so was that correct?
That changed after we were on the phone. The 23s were already gone, and she had 2 24s. so.
Okay, and then I thought the cost difference was $5,000, not $8,000?
But changed with
That
the-
changed.
that too.
Favor-
Because I was on the call with you too,
Yeah.
and I wrote it all down, and that's what, yeah.
And then, so the total additional cost for us to buy 2 cars is $50,000? Is that
It's
what
just
we're
under
hearing
that,
tonight?
yeah.
And that is not net of what will be obtained for the
For the
sale.
sale.
Yeah.
Okay, and that includes outfitting and everything?
Not yet. That'll be in our next budget when, because I don't have that budgeted yet.
Okay,
Wait a minute. back
so
up.
we're going to pay more.
Car has to
Okay.
be,
It's not ready to go.
right, that's just a
Right.
car.
Just the base.
So the 50,000 is
It's-
not covering
No.
that cost?
What type of cars are they, Chief?
Dodge Durangos.
The same.
What we currently use.
Gotcha.
What's that?
Chief, I'm sorry, I had a question. Have these been sitting idle for how long?
24, I guess. I don't know if as long as they've had them, it's one of the reasons we're wanting to get rid of them, and they offer us a deal. They are operational, they do work, and they have a warranty, and they'll stand by them.
And the warranty, so what, if
Yeah,
something's
okay.
not, like something went up in there and had a
That's what I was
nest.
Yeah.
And what does it cost to outfit?
About 7 or 8.
More than that, I don't, okay, don't be surprised if it's 14,000, more or
Each?
less, yes,
Per car?
depending on the circumstances.
That's not what the last one,
I don't know, I can't remember,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't want to sit there and give you the number, so I thought if they're conservatively high, in case it's less, then y'all feel good.
yeah, I think the last one was less.
Another thing that I observed at the Financial Oversight Committee meeting was that it seemed like the committee was interested in just still buying one. So is that also
Right,
changed?
that's still on for 1 a year. They didn't want to change.
No,
One total.
You're correct, but it did change when we got the new data, when it was a larger savings, and we found out that the warranties were all good.
And the email went to
The
the
warranty was a
committee
big concern of the committee.
So there was a vote by email?
Yeah.
It was a
Not
vote
in
by
the-
email,
Not
yeah.
in a
Just,
meeting that everybody could attend?
Just to make a recommendation for what council, so it's up to council, so.
I mean, I don't know. I think it was a good question that was posed then. Should we stick to the one car? Are we okay with spending an extra $50,000 plus 28 for
Part of
outfitting?
The deal was for us to buy 2.
Right.
And then skip the year.
It's
And that's
2 or
why-
none?
pretty much.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know how.
that's how they're
Yeah.
selling it for the discount, she claimed. So,
What would be the cost difference between us buying these two? I mean, I guess there are several different ways of looking at this, but just what the actual cost difference is between us buying one new car versus two older but new
Well,
cars.
right off, a $16,000 savings just on the car itself.
I'm asking what the total additional cost is.
Oh, the
for
additional
this-
cost?
Yes.
I would say for one more car is what we pay for the last one, almost 60
Give or take.
How much time do we have to make this decision?
today.
We have to do it today?
We have to let them know tomorrow.
They just had a thing on the news tonight about cars are gonna go up to, 20%?
Yeah,
I mean, suppose, now, the Durangos are not.
I just heard
don't get me
that,
wrong.
I didn't know that was new or used or what, but
Yeah.
I did hear that.
Well, I think an important part of this equation is that we will skip buying a car.
Next year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, so.
That's the important part of the equation. And then we
It's
will
cheaper.
return to one vehicle a year. So we keep our budgeting process good and we keep our police
So
force
in
well
theory, we
equipped.
still would buy two cars. If we got one now, then next fiscal we would buy another one.
Correct.
So it's still two. But this is at a greater savings.
That's a fair point. I want to also ask, how many cars did we most recently buy? Because I feel like we bought an extra car recently.
We bought
But,
one.
with 8 years, maybe it's.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
We bought one a year, but then I had my car that we had to buy,
Right,
because
It fell apart.
it fell apart, or
that's right.
for much of the and it was falling.
And there was a year we bought two, and then the next year we didn't buy any. But the committee always said, let's just do one. I know Mr. Huff, he was administrator of, right at one time in another city as well, and he recommended the year, and that's kind of what we stuck to. But then when it's come up on occasion that we've had to get two, we make them skip a year. So we get back to our
Sounds
1 year.
reasonable to me.
And that helps equip them too, because they gotta be equipped, so at least part of that money can be saved, because that's all gonna be done, so.
So this is coming from the general fund then for,
Yeah.
the one is in budget. The purchase of the one car would be part of the budget, but then the other car would come
Yeah,
out
to
of
move
general
50
fund.
just satisfies what is needed to make it happen now, before the new fiscal budget. So
Yeah, and-
we won't be moving no 50 then. We'll move money for other things, but not the,
And not to bore people with history, but honestly, I'm so pleased with how our budgeting process has been disciplined and how we've employed it and how our police, Chief Cody, you could tell people when you joined the force, things were awful. The equipment was not acceptable, and we have really made major strides in that regard, and
Getting the Brownlee contract saved
I think it was really good.
yeah, I think
It was
that's a really good thing for us.
When did that happen?
us. Well,
12?
2012.
So
But-
do we need a motion to,
We do, and I'll make the motion to purchase the two 2024 vehicles with the assurance that the warranty is that of a new car, and with the agreement that we will not purchase any car in the next budget year.
But isn't the motion, shouldn't it actually be about moving?
Moving
the-
50 from general fund.
The money.
Right? But we gotta know what we're using that money for. And to accomplish that, we need to move $50,000 from the general fund into, are you gonna put that in the capital?
Capital,
Yeah,
that's where it's always paid from. So.
okay.
and that's a 3-year policy as far as on the.
The warranty.
Yeah, on the warranty. Did you second? I would second that if you did second that.
Oh, you go for it.
Second it. Thank you.
Roll call.
Greg?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes.
And Laura?
Yes.
And Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Any other old business?
Well, we haven't had committee discussions.
Hmm?
Committee discussions?
Well, Finance Committee, did it meet?
We just,
I think that was
yeah, we
last.
reported on that. The Park and
Parks,
Recs Committee
okay.
did meet on March 4th. And I would like to mention just real quickly what we discussed. We reviewed, recommended, we met, Jim Fowler met with Lee Ransdell of DPAC regarding improving the walking paths in Audubon Preserve, making them safer, particularly how it connects to Audubon Road. That's a really steep decline. We are going to meet with them again in person and see what they could do for us and see if we could work together on that. I was going to try and attend the DPAC meeting on March 18th and bring it up there. And see if they would be willing to, they have a really good volunteer team, assist us with some of their resources.
Sorry, Pam, I apologize, but what is DPAC?
It's the DeVue Park Advisory
Oh, okay.
Committee. So
Thank
they are in charge of all, see, our Audubon Preserve meets DeVue Park. So we kind of have to work together. If we don't work together, we get in trouble because nothing is like staked out. It's
Right.
hard to, and it's not a straight line. So it's a good thing for us to work together. Okay, in Audubon Preserve, we're going to have another invasive plant eradication session. We're planning for 2 Saturdays in March, the 21st and the 28th at 10 a.m. to work on primarily honeysuckle eradication. Mr. Tony Darren is going to, and I know already has, asked for volunteer help from Company Catholic on that. They help us every year, and it's been very useful. And Dan, if you recall, last year, you did 2 things to help us too. You brought your trailer down there so we could stack the cut material on the trailer.
Yes, ma'am.
And you provided us with some herbicide, because when you cut the honeysuckle off, you gotta spray the top, or you've just pruned it and it comes right back. So we would appreciate it if you could do that again for us. And,
Does he have a tarp?
do you have a tarp we could borrow too? I've got some if you don't.
I do too.
Okay, if you had some, we'd appreciate it. That'll help us drag that stuff out to the,
Three of them had a whoops on them.
Oh, great.
okay, good. Then we also talked about, we're going to get 50, I don't know if they're saplings or seedlings, they're very small trees, 25 bur oaks and 25 shagbark hickories, and we will plant many of those into Audubon Preserve. We're trying to repopulate that forest, which has been very much diminished by the ash blight. The majority of trees in there were ash, and they were continue to die. We will probably have some of those left over, and we were going to look for other public spaces in the city where we might locate those. So if anybody has ideas, please just let any of us know. There are other invasives in that area, but we're going to focus on honeysuckle. And I do recommend to everybody, this is the time for our ephemerals. If you want to see something really beautiful, take a walk through there, you know, like now to the end of the first week in April. It's very, very beautiful. We also talked about meeting with, I'm going to reach out to Mr. Zellweger, who has a lot of public space, to see if he would like to accept some trees and maybe consider working with us on some walking paths. So we'll reach out to him. We also talked about what we brought up at the Finance Committee meeting, which is pursuing a shelter and lavatory for Trolley Park. And that's a big project, but I think a very doable project. I know, Mayor, you're going to work with Jay Bear to see if it's a possible project, right? If it
Right.
can actually, there's a lot of stuff under Trolley Park, you know, pipes and all that stuff.
Right,
So
I asked
Mr.
him to
Bear
look
will let
into
us,
that, so.
yeah, he's gonna look at that. And that's basically it. I should mention, those trees were paid for by the Garden Club. That was very nice of them. And we also, I reached out and asked them, the hickory trees are particularly attractive to the deer, so we're going to protect these trees, and the garden club's going to provide that for us too. The bike club, Nicole gave us a little change list on things that she's going to do a little differently this year. I think they're going to start up at the clubhouse because they have lavatory facilities, and that's an important thing. But that's a great thing, and hopefully she'll be able to join us at the next meeting, and I can give a more full report. So that's it.
Can I ask a question about bringing up the Devou Park Committee and some of the pathways? I know at one point there was supposed to be an MOU for the bridge, and I think also one of the welcome signs that with Covington. Did that ever happen? Did either,
Well, I think the welcome sign thing we just worked out, right?
Yeah.
We're good with that. with Mayor
Mayor Meyer
Washington.
met me on the site, and
Well, this would have been with Mayor Washington.
well, this was Mayor Meyer who came when the sign went up, the sign.
Okay.
And yeah, he said, because he saw where it was going to go and that was obstructing the view, so it was acceptable as long as we put on the other side with Covington.
Which we did.
Welcome to Covington, so we did that.
Because I think I actually spoke with both of those mayors, and it's been some time, but it
Yeah.
was, Mayor Meyer told me about it, about the MOUs, and then I followed up with Mayor Washington, and he said that they were working on them, so I guess they just never came to fruition, or?
I'll ask about it at the DPAC meeting.
And I'll
I haven't
ask
heard
Mayor
any more
Washington.
about it.
Okay.
But Lee Ransdell, which is who we reached out to, he's in charge of their trail system. He's a very nice man, good guy, has a tremendous reserve of knowledge that will be helpful to us in making the best use of our space.
Any other committees? I don't think any matters. Old business.
I have some old business that nobody's going to want to hear, but I'm going to do it. And I want to say that in doing this, I offer this in the most conciliatory manner and humble manner. I want to get past this issue of the minutes is a divisive and destructive issue. It's, as it's written, a house divided against itself cannot stand, and as our state motto says, united we stand, divided we fall. But I'm going to make a motion to ratify the original approval of the minutes of the September 29th, 2025 special meeting of council as approved on October 14th, 2025, and to rescind and repeal the action of council taken in its February 9th, 2026 meeting that purported to amend the aforesaid original minutes.
I'll second.
So I think there still has to be a paper trail, doesn't there? Or you have to keep all of the amendments on record?
Okay. And we have a
I
roll call.
wholeheartedly disagree.
Okay.
Take roll call.
Greg?
Yes.
Emily?
No, I thought we were done.
I did too.
Sarah?
I'd like to be.
No.
Pam?
Yes.
Laura?
No.
Steve?
Yes.
And the mayor.
Emily, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said no.
No.
Sorry. I give another.
So Greg was yes, Emily no, Sarah? No. Pam? Yes. Laura? No. Steve? Yes. I can't
So
remember any.
3-3. I'd have to break the tie because there was a quorum, and I feel like the minutes should be what they were that day and approved that day, so, for that day. So I vote yes.
I think that quorum was not present. I just want to state that, make sure that's clear. I do not agree with that statement.
And I do have a related item, which I'm not sure if it's old or new business. Does anybody else have any old business before I? Okay, so I mentioned in our last meeting, in our caucus meeting, that I was going to, using Mr. Braun's format, revise our procedure ordinance. And I will send that to everybody like tonight or tomorrow, so I'm hoping that, Mayor, we could put it on the caucus meeting agenda to talk about it. And if I get it out to you in the next couple of days, then you've got a lot of time to consider it and think about it. I tried to put into here the comments that were made as I recall them in my notes, such as the definition of quorum, et cetera. So I hope that we find this acceptable, but I look forward to your criticisms and comments. I think it's important that, like most other cities, we do have a procedure ordinance that establishes how we do business. The whole point of a process is to be a tool to accomplish good things. It's not a weapon, it's a tool. And I hope this will help us use it in that way. So,
Are you referring to a meeting ordinance? What is
yeah,
the procedure?
a procedure ordinance, when we meet, what the order of business is, how residents address council, all that kind of stuff. And I really feel like the last time this was discussed, I can't even explain how this happened, but something as ancient and well-established as Robert's Rules of Order, which every city uses, the state uses, this became vilified. These aren't scary things. These are very standard things. And I think that we all benefit from having a clear procedure in place, one that is in an ordinance form, in our code, where all the residents can read it, and it's very transparent. So I'll send it to everybody, but Mayor, I do ask if we could put that as part of our agenda for that caucus meeting to talk about it.
So we'll talk about the procurement, and we'll talk
The
about...
procurement, we'll have a very legalistic meeting, and we'll do procurement, and I hope the procedure ordinance.
Can I ask you a question? I think you're aware that I also wrote a meetings ordinance last fall or late summer or something. I'm just curious why you might not have reached out to perhaps coordinate that.
Well, Sarah, I can assure you, there's no personal slight intended at all. And I didn't talk to Mr. Braun either, at all. I took Mr. Braun's form, the most recent thing that we discussed, and I have added and edited to what I think is a good form. Bring your ordinance to the meeting and we'll talk about it.
I will.
There's no personal issue here. I just want us to have a good and clear process going forward.
I think we all want that.
Okay? All right.
We'll put that in the caucus.
Thank you.
Any other new business?
I sure do. I'm gonna end it on a high note. Oh my goodness.
It's a big note.
It's a big note, and that was a bit of sarcasm. So I am gonna read something verbatim, just so everybody knows what we're talking about. So I'm sure we've all been inundated with this, as we should be, but artificial intelligence is no longer a technology reserved for large metropolitan governments. Small cities like Park Hills now have meaningful, affordable access to AI tools that can reduce administrative burden, improve citizen services, and help stretch limited budgets further. This briefing that I have summarizes that landscape. It highlights our practical near-term opportunities and outlines a recommended path forward. Before I get into the opportunities and recommendations, I know that this is a highly emotional issue for people. I respect that. But we are at a point globally, this is not a choice, it's not a feeling, it is a reality. It's just the way the world is going. It is affecting every field, it is affecting everything. So, some of the key opportunities for us with, small budgets, limited resources, limited personnel, how could we use this to augment what we're already doing to our advantage? Administrative efficiency, number one. Julie's a busy gal. She's got a lot going on. We could use some of these tools to support her in repetitive tasks, data processing entry, document routing, things like that. Workflows that we could create, automations that can make things a lot easier for her. This is the fastest, most lean win for us as a city. Second thing, citizen services, this might be my favorite one, creating, and we can build all this ourselves. I know it sounds very Skynet, very futuristic, but we have the ability to build a lot of this ourselves. We can build our own AI chatbot that could answer residents' questions and process routine requests around the clock. Like, for example, what is the Park Hills procurement policy? We could ask, and it could tell us. Residents can get faster responses, staff face fewer routine calls, and when the office is closed, you have somebody that you can talk to right now. That somebody just doesn't happen to be human. Secondly, grant writing assistance. To Mr. Conway's point, we're going to be going after more grants in the Economic Development Committee. Grant writing is a very particular body of work, but we have to recognize that that body of work is changing significantly because of AI. We can truly create our own agent that can help us with grant writing for small municipalities. This is something we could do right now. At little to no cost, we can do this. So it's not just like big discussions, we meet 300 times. We see a project, we share it with our agent, it goes after it for us. It will still require human judgment and discernment to make sure that this is correct, but that's something we can do right now.
And Emily, not to interrupt, but who is the agent? What is it? Is the agent human?
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
so,
It's called agentic AI.
Yeah. So like generative AI is probably a term that you've heard. It's
Okay.
like where we're drafting documents and creating things.
Okay.
The agent is essentially like the person that you talk to back and forth that helps you create these things. If we're
Okay.
creating a grant proposal, it will help you fine tune it and finesse it in a way that makes it achievable. It's just another tool in our tool belt is essentially what I'm proposing. Now these are some bigger ones. The next couple are a little further out there, but it can even do things like infrastructure forecasting. You know, like we talk about things, failures in water, sewer, road infrastructure. Before they become emergencies, it can help us prioritizing with our limited capital improvement budgets. Financial planning, obviously this is an obvious one. AI tools can analyze our expenditure patterns. And then our emergency preparedness. We talk a lot about using REACH. I think that needs to be overhauled completely. I think there are way better tools out there, low cost, that can reach people where they are.
And Reach is expensive.
And REACH is
It is, it's
expensive.
expensive.
There are much cheaper ones now, and like they get cheaper by the day. And like this isn't something that's going to change in 6 months. This is something that's going to change in 6 hours.
Right,
And
and
so
then
we
you
need to
need
be-
people to sign up for those things.
But I think that it's not even a sign up anymore. Like, I think it's even more simplistic than that. Like, I think that the access and the ability of folks to even talk with like an agent, it's not even like, hey, send me a text. It's like, hey, can I talk to my Park Hills robot bestie to give me the information that I need? And we can get into that. There's so many options. It's like, I'm not saying that there's one. I'm saying, one, we can help reduce our costs. We can do direct community engagement, and we don't have to rely on a human resource to do so. So that being said, there's some examples in there. There's better ones. I've actually already edited this document, so I'll send you the most up-to-date one because this is not it. But we're in luck because what I've included in the big heavy reading is the National League of Cities has already created an AI readiness toolkit for municipalities, specifically ones of our size. It includes a self-assessment, sample policy templates, and implementation guidelines. This doesn't have to be hard or scary. It's a lot of it has been built for us. So this is the phased approach I'm recommending. So in the first 0 to 3 months, I think we complete the readiness assessment. That's an easy win. It's identify one pilot that we can use, a quick win is what we're looking for. Phase 2, 3 to 6 months, pilot said tool. Establish an AI use policy. The NLC's already provided a template on that, so we're not starting from scratch. We'll gather feedback from all of us, from our employees, from residents to see how this is working. And that's why I really am leaning more towards that civic engagement type tool. And then phase 6 to 12 months, we evaluate. Did it work? We never want to assume it did. We determine our return on investment. Is this a good use of funds? Is this doing what we wanted it to do? And then we expand our second use case. We create that proof of concept to say this is what works. This is how it worked. This is what we are doing next. So that was a lot. would love, I know this is wordy and, you could really
No,
use
Emily,
AI to
that was
summarize.
a great presentation.
Really was.
Thank you.
Great
Let
job.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
let me ask you this.
Yes, ma'am.
We were talking about committees, but
Yeah, yeah.
do you think we need an AI committee? I mean, that would seem like, to me,
Possibly.
I feel
Yeah.
a little overwhelmed by this, and I
It's a
kind
lot.
of feel good if we had a committee who's in charge of this, and, okay, we're implementing, and this is, how do you feel about that?
I love that idea.
I like that idea too because
So
it
maybe
is
we
the-
could add that to our caucus discussion too. I think that would be a good thing.
I would love to, because I think it's, we talk about this a lot. If we think about our website, we've talked about that a lot. We can use AI tools to like simplify
Yeah.
that so much, reduce our costs. And more than anything, I want you to think about this. We have our website as it is right now. We have all these websites as they are right now. Most websites in the world, probably, agents can't read them. Because like ChatGPT is replacing the search engine. Like Google's not going to be a thing the way it is now going forward. We aren't going to Google something. We're going to ask our robot bestie, and that is my most professional language for what these agents are, to get us the information that we need. But those agents and those chatbots right now aren't able to read websites. They can't read ours. I ran it through a tool one of my colleagues made and we scored an F, but so did all of the municipalities I looked up. So that's not just us, but it is something we can solve for right now quickly. So I think we just need to be thinking about those things. Thank you for the suggestion of the committee because it is the entire fabric of everything.
Yeah, it's a huge
It's
thing.
not just
and
tech.
I would feel better if it was, somebody really devoted time to it and was making recommendations to us because,
Yep.
I certainly don't have the expertise, but I want to learn, so.
Oh, yeah, and
Well,
there's a
something
bunch.
I just learned on
Yeah.
the website is that ADA has a huge finger in it there now, because as of now, you have to start updating all your forms to be ADA, because you have the little wheelchair, and they click on that, and then it'll do everything they need, talk to them, whatever.
Yeah.
But by 27, all your documents have to be the ADA, and they have to be run through and, done a certain way, encrypted, all that. So
Absolutely.
I don't know that, maybe that's why AI can't read them. or something.
No,
I don't know.
it's the chatbots can't, it has nothing to, you're right, I think ADA compliance is critical, but it's like the bots and the agents right now, they aren't able to, it has nothing to do, it's even bigger than that. It's that they can't access, like they can't read the back end, they're not searching things like Google search engines. Like your ranking in Google,
Yeah.
it's not gonna matter anymore. That will be irrelevant. And I'm not like picking on Google as a company, but it's just become a colloquialism of like, I'll Google it. Right.
Well, I think it's important also to note that these things change so rapidly that what you're saying right now could be different tomorrow. So,
Yeah, probably will be in 20 minutes.
exactly. So, but I do think that accessibility has a lot to do with it.
It does.
And
Well,
some of it is positive, right? Like,
I very much appreciate the presentation. I think
my
this is a
pleasure.
great opportunity, and it's one we need to actually,
Action.
yeah, we have to take action on this, because if we don't, we're going to be like treading water.
I would love for us to be, honestly, and I cannot speak to what other cities in our county are doing right now, or even in northern Kentucky. Kentucky is behind as a state in this space. That is not a secret to anyone. We all know that. But I think that Park Hills has an opportunity to lead here. I think we
I
can be a
love that
good
idea.
example
Yeah.
of changes that can be made right now. And Sarah's right about the compliance, but I also want you to consider as you're looking at this, we cannot buy our way out of this solution. And that is like buy our way out of this problem, not solution. That's not my intent. I think we can get to a point where we can build and house, insulate our own data, and build the tools that we need ourselves.
Well, Emily, let me ask you this, because we're in the budgeting process. Is this something that we should budget for? And what would do you have a number that you could
I don't have a
suggest?
number, but I can work on that for
I
caucus,
would
and I would
really
love to discuss
appreciate
it.
if
Yeah.
you could get us a number before our next meeting.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have a KLC meeting soon. I'll
Yeah.
question them too. on-
Please. Yeah,
Since this is the national,
yes, from NLC. Yeah.
Is this something that the goal of the city is to have every department use the same AI tool?
That's a good question. And I think that that's like an interesting point, because I think what Julie would use and what y'all would use would be completely different things to what Dan might use, to what we could use as a council. I think there are different things that we can create ourselves and also have a lot better data quality and data management in the long term.
I wasn't sure if it would be a policy. I mean, I have no problem using the same as everybody else. I was just curious if that was the road we were going to go. Because we use AI a little bit now, but
Right.
it's more for forms and things like that and work on our training. But, you know, I have no problem doing it.
Well, when yours is programmed for your type or your department.
We just happen to grab it and ask questions and we use it.
Yeah.
We don't do anything sensitive material.
Okay.
That is found in these forms.
But I mean, someone's writing that software for it to talk to you
Yes.
about your,
I don't care if we use the
Right.
same options, that was my curiosity if we're going down that road.
And I don't think, for me personally, and I would defer to my colleagues, but I don't think the goal is for us to have like a set policy where this is what we use as a city, because I think it will be nuanced to your work. I think we need to discuss what that looks like, refer to the materials here, because there's some good information. And I think to Sarah's point, we need flexibility, because it's going to change in 20 minutes. It's probably changed since we started talking.
I agree.
So,
I'm sure.
yeah. But I'll send you the updated briefing.
Okay,
and,
great, and try
I'll work on that number.
get some kind of number together so we can, and I forgot to mention just real quickly on our becoming a Purple Heart City, I've been reaching out to all of the, trying to get help there. And I ended up talking to City of Bellevue, and they really were helpful. So I'm going to meet with some veterans who are in charge of that next week, and Warren, maybe you'd want to come
Sure.
to that.
Next week I'm going to do it.
Oh, you're gonna be gone, okay. Well, we're just gonna talk about, we have to do a proclamation, we know that it's not a complicated process, and they give us like a template for that.
Julie's
But-
good at that.
Yeah, right, and then they provide to us some Purple Heart signs and flags and things like that, and I'm hoping this is something we could do for the Memorial Day Parade, that this could be part of our presentation. So I think it'd be pretty neat for us.
Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you all.
And I contact